During a family trip, my uncle whispered, "I know what you did, and so does the FBI." My father's fork clattered against his plate. I stared as two men in black suits approached. "Sir, we need to talk about an offshore account worth $10 million." The clatter of my father's fork against his plate rang through the restaurant like a gunshot. A conversation killer. A moment where the air thins, and suddenly, nothing feels real. My uncle leaned in closer, his breath reeking of whiskey and secrets. His voice, barely a whisper, yet it cut through the air like a razor. "I know what you did, and so does the FBI." I froze. Dad's fingers clenched the edge of the table, knuckles turning white. Mom, mid-laugh over something my younger sister had said, went silent. Even the restaurant noise, the clinking of glasses, murmured conversations, faded into nothing. Then I saw them. Two men, black suits, stern faces. They moved toward us with precision, their eyes locked on my father. "Sir, we need to talk about an offshore account worth $10 million. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Mom's wine glass trembled in her hand. My sister, too young to understand, tilted her head, her fork still in midair. My father's eyes darted between the men, my uncle, then back to me. Panic, guilt, fury, a mix of everything in a single glance. I swallowed hard. $10 million? Offshore account? What the hell were they talking about? Dad slowly pushed back his chair, the scrap of metal against tile loud in the eerie quiet. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, his voice calm. Too calm. One of the agents pulled a folder from his coat, set it on the table, opened it. Bank statements. Wire transfers. My father's name in bold ink. My mother's gasp barely registered over the ringing in my ears. "You have the wrong person," Dad said. The agent's expression didn't change. "You're coming with us." And just like that, everything crumbled. They pulled him to his feet. The entire restaurant had gone silent. All eyes on us, on him. I shot up. "Wait, this has to be a mistake." My uncle exhaled, shaking his head. But there was something in his eyes. Not a shock. Not concerned. Satisfaction. That's when I knew. This wasn't some misunderstanding. This was a setup. And my uncle? He was behind it. My father was hauled away in front of us. No struggle, no fight. Just silence. A quiet resignation that sent a cold shiver down my spine. I stood there, fists clenched, watching the agents escort him toward the restaurant's entrance. The moment felt surreal, like watching a movie where you already know the protagonist is doomed. But this wasn't a movie. This was real. "Mom, do something," I hissed, but she just sat there, frozen, her lips parted in shock. My little sister clutched her arm, confused and scared. I turned back to my uncle. That same look in his eyes, smug, satisfied. I wanted to punch him right there, but instead, I forced my voice to stay even. "You did this." He didn't even pretend to deny it. Just leaned back in his chair and swirled his whiskey. "That's a strong accusation." I didn't blink. "You set him up." A slow smirk crept onto his face. "You should be thanking me." "For what?" "Destroying my family. For showing you who your father really is." He took a sip, savoring it like this was just another night at the bar. "He's a thief, kid. A liar. You don't get an offshore account with $10 million by playing nice." I could hear my mother's sharp intake of breath, but I kept my focus on him. "He's not a criminal." My uncle shrugged. "Believe what you want. But those men? They're not here for a misunderstanding." I wanted to scream, wanted to break something, but losing control wouldn't help. "Think. Stay calm." The restaurant felt smaller, closing in. Whispers. Stares. I had to move. Had to do something. I grabbed my mom's hand. "We need to go." She hesitated, her eyes glossy, but nodded. I pulled her up, my sister trailing close behind. The weight of the moment crushed my chest, but I pushed through it. We made it outside, just as the black car, carrying my father, pulled away. Gone. Just like that. I had no idea what to do. No plan. No leads. Just rage and confusion fighting for dominance. Then my uncle stepped beside me, lighting a cigar like he hadn't just orchestrated my worst nightmare. "You should go home," he said. "This is just the beginning." I turned to him, voice low, steady. "Damn right it is." He chuckled, exhaling a cloud of smoke. "I'd be careful if I were you. You're playing in a game you don't understand." I square my shoulders. "Then teach me." That made him pause. His smirk faltered, just for a second. Then he laughed. A deep, amused chuckle. "You're serious?" I held my ground. "You want me to believe my father's guilty? Fine, but I want to see it for myself." I didn't care if I was walking into a trap. If my father was innocent, I had to prove it. And if he wasn't, I needed to know the truth. My uncle studied me for a long moment, the ember of his cigar glowing between his fingers. Then, with a slow exhale, he smirked. "You really want in?" I didn't blink. "I want the truth." He flicked the ash to the ground and chuckled. "Careful what you wish for, kid." I wasn't a kid. Not anymore. Whatever this was, whatever game he was playing, he had dragged my father into it. And now, I was stepping in too. "Meet me at the Wellington Club. Midnight." His voice was casual, like he was inviting me for drinks. "Come alone. A warning. A test. Probably both." Mom grabbed my wrist, her grip tight. You're not going anywhere with him. Her voice was shaky, but the fire in her eyes was real. I turned to her, lowering my voice. Dad is gone. You saw the proof in that folder. I swallowed, forcing myself to stay steady. But I don't believe it. Not yet. Her lips trembled. She was terrified. I was too. But fear wasn't an option. Uncle David chuckled, shaking his head. Smart boy. Stupid, but smart. Then he walked away, vanishing into the city night like a shadow slipping between streetlights. The Wellington Club. I almost didn't recognize it from the outside. It wasn't some neon-lit nightclub or a high-end bar. It was quiet, exclusive, a place for men who signed deals with bloodstained pens. I stepped inside. The air smelled like old money and expensive betrayal. Dim chandeliers cast a golden glow, and hushed conversations buzzed over clinking whiskey glasses. Uncle David was waiting in a private booth, legs crossed, a fresh drink in hand. Didn't think you'd show. I'm full of surprises. He grinned. That's what I like about you. I sat across from him. No small talk. No drinks. Tell me everything. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on the table. Your father and I, he smirked, like he was about to deliver a well-rehearsed speech. We were partners once. Business was good. Then it got better. Then he got greedy. I clenched my jaw. Define greedy. David swirled his drink. That offshore account. Half of that money was supposed to be mine. My stomach twisted. You're lying. He sighed, like he was dealing with a stubborn child. You want proof. He pulled out his phone, tapped the screen, and slid it across the table. I picked it up. The screen showed a bank statement. Massive transfers from two names. One was my father's. The other? David Whitmore. I stared at it, my pulse pounding. If this was real, then Dad had lied. But there was something else. A detail my uncle hoped I wouldn't notice. The final transfer. The money wasn't stolen. It was moving, erased. And the only person who could have done that? Not my father. I set the phone down carefully. Looked up at my uncle. Where's the rest of the money? His smirk widened. That's the real question, isn't it? He wanted me to dig. He wanted me to find it. This wasn't just about revenge. He wasn't satisfied with my father's arrest. He was after something bigger. And now, I was part of it. I stared at my uncle, my fingers tightening around his phone. The numbers on the screen burned into my brain. My father's name, the money, the missing millions. He was setting me up. I could feel it. This wasn't just a conversation. It was a test. A trap. I slid the phone back across the table, forcing my voice to stay steady. If my dad took the money, why would he erase it? Uncle David leaned back, amused. That's what I'm trying to find out. I folded my arms. So that's why you had him arrested? He chuckled, taking a slow sip of his drink. Oh, kid. The FBI doesn't show up over a hunch. Someone gave them evidence. Someone credible. He let the words settle before dropping the bomb. Your father's best friend. My stomach flipped. That's not possible. Uncle David shrugged. You can take it or leave it, but facts don't lie. Robert Carter turned him in. Robert, my father's right-hand man. The guy who came to every family barbecue, every Christmas dinner. The man who practically helped raise me. I forced myself to stay calm. Why would he do that? David smirked. Why does anyone turn on family? He leaned forward. Money. The word felt dirty coming from his mouth, like something sharp and jagged meant to cut. But I wasn't buying it. Not yet. I stood up. If you already know all this, what do you need me for? He chuckled. Because I don't know where the money went. But your dad? He trusts you. He tapped the table. And if you ask the right questions, maybe you'll find out. I hated him. Hated that he was using me. But I needed answers. Robert Carter's house. It was late, but I didn't care. I stood outside his door, my pulse hammering. If Uncle David was right, then Robert had just betrayed my father. I knocked. A few seconds later, the door opened a crack. Robert blinked, surprised. You shouldn't be here. I pushed inside before he could stop me. Tell me the truth. He closed the door, rubbing his face. He looked exhausted. I don't know what you've heard, but I heard you turned him in. His face went pale. That was all the confirmation I needed. I took a step closer. Why? His jaw tightened. Because your father isn't who you think he is. I exhaled sharply. Then tell me. Because right now, the only people talking are the ones who want him gone. Robert hesitated. Then, finally, he motioned for me to sit. And the truth? It shattered everything. Robert sat across from me, rubbing a hand over his face. The weight in his eyes told me he wasn't just tired. He was scared. I leaned forward, my voice cold. Talk. He exhaled, staring at the floor. Your dad. He was trying to protect you. My heart pounded. From what? Robert hesitated. Then from David. Silence. The world tilted for a second. The air sucked out of the room. I shook my head. That doesn't make sense. David is the one who turned him in. No, Robert looked up, his expression raw. David framed him. But your father knew it was coming. That's why he moved the money. I still went. The account was real, Robert continued. The transfers? Real. But your father never stole from David. David stole from someone else. Dangerous people. And when your dad found out, he tried to clean it up. Move the money somewhere safe. Make it disappear before the wrong people find it. I gripped the edge of the chair. Who? Robert hesitated. The kind of people you don't come back from. It clicked. The reason David was so desperate. The reason he needed me to dig. He didn't just want the money. He needed it. Because if he didn't find it, someone was coming for him. And now, thanks to him dragging me into this, they'd be coming for me, too. I barely made it home before the headlights appeared. A sleek black car. Windows tinted too dark to see inside. I had seconds to react. My mind screamed, run, hide, fight. Instead, I stood my ground. The door opened. A man stepped out, dressed in a perfectly tailored suit. His voice was smooth, polite. Deadly. You've been asking a lot of questions. I swallowed hard. And you are. A slow smile. The man your uncle owes $10 million. My blood ran cold. I assume you know where it is? He asked, tilting his head. I didn't move. Didn't breathe. Because in that moment, I realized something terrifying. I had walked straight into my uncle's trap. And now, I was the only thing standing between my family and the people who wanted them dead. The man in the suit watched me, his expression unreadable. He was patient, too patient, like a predator who already knew his prey had nowhere to run. I forced myself to stay calm. I don't have money. His smile didn't waver. But you know where it is. I did. Robert had told me everything. The money wasn't gone. It was hidden, locked behind a fail-safe my father had set up, a system only I could access. And now, that fail-safe was the only thing keeping us alive. I square my shoulders. If I get you the money, you leave my family alone. A long pause, then a slow nod. Fair. Lies. Men like him didn't make clean deals. But this wasn't about fairness. This was about buying time. The exchange was set for midnight. I stood at the docks, the cold wind biting through my jacket. A briefcase in my hand, one I had filled, not with $10 million, but with evidence. Proof that David had orchestrated the theft, that he had tried to pin it on my father, that he had been running from these men for years. David arrived first. His smug grin faltered when he saw me. Where's the money? I smiled. Funny. They asked me the same thing. His face paled. He turned just as the black car pulled up. The man in the suit stepped out. His gaze flicked between us. Is there a problem? David swallowed hard. Listen, this isn't what it looks like. I tossed the briefcase onto the hood of the car. It's all there. Every account. Every transfer. The proof you need. The man flipped it open. Scanned the files. And for the first time, his polite smile vanished. David took a step back. Wait. A sharp nod from the suited man. Two others stepped forward. Grabbed my uncle by the arms. His eyes went wild. No, this is a mistake. He's lying. No one listened. As they dragged him toward the car, he twisted to face me. Fury and desperation bleeding into his voice. You think you've won? His laugh was broken, manic. You don't know what you've done. I met his gaze. Unflinching. No, Uncle David. I took a step closer, lowering my voice. I know exactly what I've done. They shoved him into the car, slammed the door, and just like that, he was gone. My father was released a week later. The charges? Dropped. The evidence? Wiped clean. He never asked how, never questioned what I had done. But one night as we sat on a porch, he looked at me, really looked at me, and said, you did what you had to. I nodded, but I also knew the truth. I had won, but not without a cost. Because once you step into the dark, it never really lets you go.